和平与发展的时代主题虽然没有变，但
China's defense minister urges greater unity to avoid law of the
保
jungle.
护主义的阴霾不散，甚至把二战
The theme of peace and development remain the underlying trend of the times, but our world is overshadowed by Cold War mentality, hegemony, and protectionism, even turning the legacy of World War II into a geopolitical tool.
谋求势力范围，胁迫选边站队。
External military interference, seeking spheres of influence, and coercing others to take sides, deviating from the principle of sovereign independence, will bring the international community into chaos and conflicts.
坚定的捍卫。需要我们警惕的是，盲目的强调这个急。
We must be vigilant about the obsession with absolute superiority in military strength, and a might is right approach will lead to a divided world, defined by the rule of the jungle and disorder. The People's Liberation Army is always a strong defending national reunification. We will never allow any separatist attempts for Taiwan independence to succeed.
需要从正义出发，做出正确的抉择。
And we are ready to thwart any external military interference at all times.
捍卫
The so-called freedom of navigation in South China Sea,
不推的
raised by countries outside the region in the so-called international arbitration, propagated by certain claimant country,
台独分
are
裂，
challenging the basic norms governing international relations.
随时准备着挫败任何外部的武力干涉。某些域外国家所谓的航行自由，个别绳索国所谓的国际中产，公然挑战国际关系基本准则。中国依法维护领土主权。
China's lawful measures to protect our territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests uphold the post-war order and the international rule of law. Taiwan detected 47 Chinese military aircraft and 7 naval vessels near its shores on March 22nd. Out of 47 sorties, 41 reportedly crossed the median line, entering Taiwan's northern, southwestern, and eastern ADEZ. Taiwan's defense ministry said it is closely monitoring China's moves and responding to the latest military threats. The United States has slammed China's drills near Taiwan as brazen and irresponsible threats, reaffirming support. Radio Free Asia report says Taiwan's military drills now indicate 2027 as a possible year for a Chinese invasion. This comes amid increase in China's defense spending, citing growing pressure from the U.S. in the Indo-Pacific. Meanwhile, Taiwan's Han Kuang military exercises will run from July 9th to 18th to test defense capabilities against a possible Chinese attack. This year's drills will focus on repelling an invasion using scenarios based on China's 2027 war plans. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has warned that Russian President Vladimir Putin may support a Chinese invasion of Taiwan by attacking a NATO country to divert Europe's focus and split the alliance's response. Former Dutch Prime Minister was responding to a question about U.S. President Donald Trump's defense commitments, particularly in the Indo-Pacific, at a time when the Republican leader is doubling down on his America First agenda, both at home and abroad. In an interview with the New York Times during last month's NATO summit in Brussels, Secretary General Mark Rutte said there's growing recognition that if Xi Jinping were to launch an attack on Taiwan, he would likely first call his very junior partner, Vladimir Putin, in Moscow and ask him to create a distraction in Europe by attacking NATO territory. Rutte warned against being naive about such a coordinated threat. There's an increasing realization, and let's not be naive about this. If Xi Jinping would attack Taiwan, he would first make sure that he makes a call to his very junior partner in all of this, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, residing in Moscow, and telling him, "Hey, I'm going to do this, and I need you to keep them busy in Europe by attacking NATO territory." Rutte said this scenario in which Taiwan is invaded by China is most likely the way this will progress, and that Beijing and Moscow will need to be deterred. Beijing claims Taiwan as a breakaway province, and Chinese President Xi Jinping has threatened to reunite the island with the mainland, by force if necessary. The Taiwanese people largely favor the status quo, which gives them de facto independence. Mark Rutte also added that Trump's foreign policy is promoting working together with the Indo-Pacific. And to deter them, we need to do two things. One is that NATO, collectively, being so strong that the Russians will never do this. And second, working together with the Indo-Pacific, something President Trump is very much promoting. Because we have this close interconnectedness, working together on defense industry, innovation between NATO and the Indo-Pacific,